and a bit more poetic, and yeah. And then owe us a living. Of course they fucking do, so yeah. And I still want to say those things anyway. So,
so you didn't change really?
No, but the trouble is now I don't know how to say it, you know, and there's me at 48 years old, still going, fuck off, I hate you. But it's not quite the same when you've got a boy.
I am a product, I am a symbol, I'm endless, I'm lost, fruitless, I'm lost, guys. We'll have a glass of match, don't sing my shop. Cause I'm in my, you're in the touch, not chatting the inch, you're by the mouth. This is things like your body, my child, I don't know. Everyone wants them, I'm the arm, but my body won't. I'm a snack on everyone's news. I'm the left, but my body wants to touch. Much. I am a sample, I am a scapegoat. My useless, useless, endless, mindless ideas. We'll have it up when I'm baby, you fall away. One money on you, sticking a drop. I've been trying to steal your sight. Now the bad shot, that kind of shot. I don't want your fucking system. I don't want to be on your face. Just touch up to resist them. I want to be on shots.
There was a David Bowie song called Ziggy Stardust, and there's a line in it where he says, Ziggy played guitar, driving us that he was voodoo, the kids was just crass. And crass means grossly stupid and, you know, pathetic, so yeah, it's a good name. At that time, it was fun to be ignorant and stupid. Oh, that's why I chose the name Ignorant for myself, because at that time I was really ignorant about politics. I didn't know what I wanted or what I wanted to do. And people had said to me before, you're an ignorant bastard, Steve Ignorant. Simple as that.
Well, Steve was from, you know, basically quite a poor working class background, and I was from, you know, quite a wealthy upper class or upper middle class background. And generally speaking, I think it is true to say that most bands are made up of, you know, people from the same background, because generally speaking, younger people tend to hang around with people from their own background because it's more comfortable for them. And that did make us different. Well, my sort of middle class, sort of off the street experience, and Steve's working class on the street experience made a very, very interesting combination, I think.
Yeah, it's not that I'm right wing or nothing, but you know, England is the best country in the world.
I've never seen any difference between sort of bohemian, beatnik, hippie, punk. I mean, they're all one of the same to me. So, I mean, I regard that just as a sort of authenticity, and, you know, or an attempt to achieve some sort of authentic lifestyle.
Just one.
Despicable, no good lads, go over nuts.
Thank you. Come on, earn your money. Fucking saucer! What a wanger! Fucking idiot! My brother took me to visit Dale House, and at that time I was not a skinhead, but it was the fashion afterwards in England called suede heads. And I went there and I couldn't understand what the hell was going on. These people had stones in their living room as ornaments. Fucking stones in your house. They should be in the garden. Using words that I'd never heard of before. But what I really liked about Penny Rambo and G was that for the first time in my life, if they asked me a question, or if I said something, they'd answer me and treat me as an equal. And it's the first time I'd ever had that, so I kept going back to visit. So when me and Penn were starting Crass, we could just take it didn't matter. It really didn't matter because I just used to live with my parents in Dagenham and whatever I said, because I was into poetry and all this sort of stuff, and I discovered a bloke called I'd read a book by a guy called Oscar Wilde called The Picture of Dorian Gray. I really got into poetry and started writing my own poetry and sort of writing songs because I wanted to be David Bowie. But my mum and dad always sort of said, oh, you'll never do it in, the usual working class thing, you would end up in a factory. But for the first time, when I first met Penny Rambo and G, I was, for the first time, listened to as a human being or as an adult, even though I was only 13 years old, and tried to talk out of my little arsehole about Walt Whitman or something, having a conversation with a bloke who was older than me, who'd been to college and sort of done things. I just thought that was fantastic. And for the first time, someone was actually interested in my opinion, and I'd never heard that before, and that's a pretty, that's a pretty big thing. And so when it was Crass, it was the same thing. We were just friends, and I'd always respect him for that. He's always respected that for me, and we really did blow away that upper class, working class divide, and we were just two guys doing it.
We all lived in the same house. You couldn't have Crass without what was happening in our personal lives. It was all so interwoven, you can't separate them. So it never stopped. It wasn't like we went to the rehearsal studio and then played Crass. The rehearsal room was in our house, so it was like, right, okay, then what are we doing tomorrow, rehearsing? It never stopped. The phone was ringing, people were coming to visit all the time, punks coming to camp in the garden and all this kind of, so you never got away from it. And the experience for me was just it never stopped, and it was a lifestyle. A good one. I wouldn't change it. We never had rules. For example, if with 15 people living in the same place, if there was washing up to be done, it wasn't, there wasn't a rota and on Wednesday Steve does the washing up. You just did it. And the whole way of living like that was, well, consideration for other people first.
Is it well and truly stuck? Is it well and
Has it
truly
gone?
stuck?
No, it's still up there. So I just come back to just getting...
Nick's taking some film.
Quick, getting it.
Quick. Oh, don't pretend.
Just I was getting so fucking swamped with those fires.
Yeah. Do you want some help or something?
Hey?
Do you want some help?
No, it's nothing to do with it.
How high is it?
Right at the top, but I think it's only on by about 2 branches. As usual. Right.
You don't look cool.
That's all, just you. Yeah, you were.
In 1967, I found the place. Well, I'd spent about a year driving round the southeast of England, sort of looking for somewhere. In those days, people, wouldn't have dreamt of moving into somewhere like this. Nowadays, they're very fashionable, very, very valuable. I saw a film, it's the end of The Sixth Happiness. There's a movie about Chinese inns, and they had this tradition of people turning, like walking to the inn, and then they would tell their story, then the next day they'd move on and go somewhere else. And I was rather inspired at the idea of sort of opening up somewhere where people could